then the archers are a definite must-have, as they are amazing to destroying that front line, which mostly are the infantry, and get the back line and win you the battle. Okay, so now we talked about the troops. Now let's discuss about the formations. First thing to discuss is the position that each troop type and each race is gonna automatically get in the battleground. The infantry will always be placed in the center front area of your army. The cavalry will always be placed front, left and right. The archers back, middle, and the mages back, left and right. Now if you would be using every type of troop type and every race of it, this is how they will be placing. The second thing to discuss is how the troops stack up on the battlefield. If I have, for example, tier 2 and tier 4 archers, because they're the same troop type and the same race, even though they're different tiers, they will be stacked up in the same spot. But the moment I add one single extra archer of tier 5, which is a different race, it's gonna be put separate to all the other archers. Now we've seen how the battlefield positioning looks like if you have all the troop types and all the races. But what if some are not there? Let's take for example the human infantry out of the equation. That will make the cavalry, which till now was all the way to the right, come much closer to the center. And this is an important thing because these little variations define on what's going to happen during the battle. The moment the battle starts, all the troops will start marching forward and they will be attacking the first available target they can get to. This is one reason why the infantries are such amazing front lines, is because they are placed in the center area. So before the enemy gets to your back line, they have to first cross through your infantry, and that gives your back line more time to deal damage. But for example, the cavalries are situated to the side. And then if you have mages in your army, the cavalry will tend to target your mages before targeting your infantry because of their positioning. If for example I wouldn't have any archers, or I would only have one tier of archers, then the mages will come closer to the center, and then most probably the cavalry will be targeting the infantry before ever going to the mages. So all these little variations in what type of troop types you're going to be using will actually define what's going to happen during the battle. Another important factor to take in consideration is the basic auto attack of the armies. No matter how many troops you're going to have, they will always attack at the same rate. And whether they are attacking 100,000 cavalries or only one cavalry, they will still be wasting their time attacking it. So this is one of the first strategies we're going to be discussing about, is adding that extra unit just to waste the attack of the enemy and direct it towards the target that you want to. For example, I am an infantry archer main. Having the infantry as my main front line and having the archers as my main back line. But what I always like to add to my battle formation is that extra unit of each cavalry race and also that extra infantry race. Because that one single unit is gonna waste an entire attack from the back line of the enemy army. And when you're taking in consideration something like 150,000 mages wasting their entire attack on that one single cavalry on the side, that is 150 mages that did not deal that damage to my infantry. So it makes a very big difference of diverting the enemy troops. The second purpose of the cavalry being there, it takes the attention of the backline. Instead of moving forward and encountering my mages, they first go towards the cavalries and then towards the infantry, which suddenly became much closer than my mages. And the same concept can be applied in your backline. I'm not the only person that is gonna be using that one single unit of cavalries on the side. And I do not want my archers to be wasting their attacks on that one single unit. So what I always like to do, even though I'm an archer main, I also use the two races of mages in my formations. So even though they're not there to deal a lot of damage, they are enough to kill off any extra cavalry that the enemy may have, so that my archers can deal the damage only on the main troops. And this is pretty much what defines a formation. Depending on your enemy and what is gonna throw at you is what you want to be using and how you want to be using. But generally you want a strong infantry front line, those added cavalry to soak up that extra damage. If you are an archer main, you can also go straight up only archers. I always prefer to add those extra mages. And if you are a mage main, you have two options. You can either integrate the archers for that extra damage towards the infantry, or if you want to protect your mages more, you can skip at least one race of archers so that the mages start coming more towards the middle and therefore less vulnerable to attack, so that the enemy's attacks focus only on the infantry and don't get delayed towards the mages. But this is pretty much the basic formation strategy you have in War in Order. In a later video I will be revisiting this subject and going more in depth with the details and type of formations and different situations you want to be using them, but this is pretty much the general idea and concept of the troops and how you want to be using them. If you found this information useful, guys, don't forget to leave a like, as it does help out a lot with the channel, and of course subscribe to it if you want to get notified of all the new videos coming out. But that's it from me now. Thanks again for checking in, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.